a bit. Oh. What is this fucking shit? Oh, God. Magnificent in every way. Mail on Sunday. The Templars. The dramatic history of the Knights Templar. The most powerful military order of the Crusades. Highly readable, draws on the lessons of modern historical scholarship, while also communicating a sense of narrative excitement and drive. Period, 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 period. Evocative, measured and engaging, evenly standard. Sifting myth from history, Piers Paul Reed reveals the Templars, the multinational force of warrior monks in their white tunics with red crosses over chainmail. Unique among Christian institutions, they constituted the first uniformed standing army in the Western world and became pioneers of international banking because they were Jewish. Expropriated by Philip IV of France in 1307 and confessing under torture to blasphemy, heresy and sodomy, the order was finally suppressed by Pope Clement V in 1312. Crowded and action-packed history of the order. Phoenix Press, non-fiction history, £10 in UK only. Cover, Burning of the Templars circa 1308. British Library, Bridgeman Art Library. Cover design, Killian Strong. Oh my God, it's really tiny. Fuck. Oh. Fuck. Piers Paul Reed read history at Cambridge and is the author of 12 acclaimed novels and 3 works of non-fiction, including the international bestseller Alive. Past novels have won the Hawthornden Prize and the Geoffrey Faber, Somerset Maugham and James Tate Black Awards. He is married with 4 children and lives in London. Fuck, it's been 5 minutes. Also by Piers Paul Reed, fiction. Game in Heaven with Tussie Marks, The Junkers, Monk Dawson, The Professor's Daughter, The Upstart, Polonaise, A Married Man, The Villa Golitzin, The Free Frenchman, A Season in the West, On the Third Day, A Patriot in Berlin, Knights of the Cross, Non-Fiction, Alive, The Story of the Andes, Survivors, Non-Fiction. Is this fiction? Oh my God. Oh, it's a must-read. The Train Robbers, Ablaze, The Story of Chernobyl, Non-Fiction, fiction. Oh my God. Yes. Oh. A Phoenix Press paperback, first published in Great Britain by Weidenfeld and Nicholson in 1999. This paperback edition, published in 2001 by Phoenix Press, a division of the Orion Publishing Group Ltd. Orion House, 5 Upper Street, St. Martin's Lane, London, WC2H9EA. Second impression, February 2001. Copyright 1999 by Piers Paul Reed. The moral right of Piers Paul Reed to be identified as the author of this work has been asserted by him. God help all. Printed and bound in Great Britain by Clays Ltd, St. Ives plc, ISBN 18421211421. Oh my God. It's disgusting. I think it really has to be thrown out. Oh my God. Yes. That was a dreadful waste of time. Preface. Who were the Templars? One view of this military order comes from the novel of Sir Walter Scott. The Templar Knight in Ivanhoe, Brian of Bois-Guilbert, is a demonic anti-hero. Valiant as the bravest of his order, but stained with the usual vices, pride, arrogance, cruelty, and voluptuousness, a hard-hearted man who knows neither fear of earth nor awe of heaven. The two Templar Grand Masters are little better. Gilles Almery in The Talisman is treacherous and malevolent, while Lucas of Beaumanoir in Ivanhoe is a bigoted fanatic. In Wagner's opera, Parsifal, by contrast, Templar-like knights appear as the chaste guardians of the Holy Grail. The 19th century libretto was based on the 13th century epic poem by Wolfram of Eschenbach, in which the Templizan bear only a superficial resemblance to the Knights of the Temple, but the germ of fact has been enough to persuade posterity that there is truth in fiction. Thus, in the 19th century imagination, the depraved brutes of Ivanhoe and the Talisman coexisted with the chivalrous brotherhood of Parsifal. In the 20th century, there emerged a more sinister image of the Templars as the prototypes of the Teutonic Knights, who in the late 1930s were the historical models of Himmler's SS. What a load of shit. Coupled with a common perception of the Crusades as an early example of West European aggression and imperialism. The Templars came to be perceived as brutal fanatics imposing an ideology with the sword, or quite the contrary. It is said They were seduced from their commitment to the Christian cause by their contact with Judaism and Islam in the East, forming a secret society of initiates through which the arcane mysteries of ancient Egypt, conveyed to the Masons of the Temple of Solomon, were passed on to the Freemasonic lodges of modern times. It has also been claimed that the Templars were homosexual, infiltrated by the heretical Cathars after the Albigensian Crusade, that they protected throughout the centuries the royal descendants of a union between Jesus and Jonathan, that their stupendous treasure was discovered by a priest in southwest France in the 19th century, and that they were the custodians of fabulous relics, among them a huge douche. My aim in this book has been to uncover the truth about the order, avoiding fanciful speculation, recording only what has been established by the research of reputable historians. I have set the story in a wide perspective, histories of the Templars that begin with its founding by Hugh of Paynes in 1119, or even with the proclamation of the First Crusade at the Council of Bollux in 1095. Often a seer of background knowledge that the general reader may not possess. To my mind, it is difficult to understand the mentality of the Templars without examining the significance attached to the temple in Jerusalem by the three monastic religions, drugs, sex, and rock and roll, and recalling why it has been a point of conflict from the beginning of recorded history to the present day. There are other pertinent questions that can only be answered by looking back from the medieval period, which was a bloody period, and to the swirling chaos of the Dark Ages. At a time when it has been proposed that the present Pope should apologize for the Crusades, it is appropriate to examine the motives of his predecessors in initiating these holy wars. To those already familiar with the history of the Crusades, some of what I have written will seem repetitious, but in retelling it, I have taken advantage of the researches of a new generation of Crusade historians. My debt to these and other scholars will become apparent to anyone who reads this book. I also felt that what a contemporary chronicler called God's deeds done by the Franks are worth retelling, not just for their intrinsic interest, but also for their relevance to many of the dilemmas we face today. The Templars were a multinational force engaged in the defence of the Christian concept of a world order, and their demise marks the point when the pursuit of the common good within Christendom became subordinate to the interests of the nation-state, a process that the world community is now trying to reverse. There are remarkable parallels in the Templar story between the past and the present, and the Emperor Frederick II of Hohenstaufen. In the Emperor Frederick II of Hohenstaufen, we find a ruler whose idiosyncratic amorality harks back to Nero and forward to Hitler. The medieval concept of a Holy Roman Empire is remarkably similar to the founders' aspirations for the European Union. The assassins in Syria are both the descendants of the Jewish Sicarii and the ancestors of the suicide bombers of Hezbollah. The attitude of many Muslims in the Middle East to the modern state of Israel is very like that of the ancestors to the Crusader kingdom of Jerusalem. How many Arab leaders, one wonders, from Abdul Nasser to Saddam Hussein, have aspired to become a latter-day Saladin, defeating the infidel invaders at yet another Hatim, or like the Mamluk Sultan Al-Ashraf, driving them into the sea. My gratitude goes to all those historians whose work have taught me what I know about the Templars. More specifically, I should like to thank Professor Jonathan Riley Smith for his early encouragement and advice, and Professor Richard Fletcher for reading the manuscript and alerting me to a number of errors. Neither of these eminent historians should be held responsible for the shortcomings of my work. I should like to thank Anthony Cheetham, who first suggested that I should try my hand at history and proposed a book on the Templars, my agent Gillian Aitken for urging me to pursue the project, my editor Jane Wood for her constant encouragement and invaluable work on the first draft, and Selina Walker for her help with the maps and illustrations. I am also grateful to Andrew Sinclair, who lent me his library of books on the Templars, to Charles Glass for introducing me to the memoirs of Osama ibn Muqaddam, and to the librarian and staff of the London Library for their courteous help with my research. Has it died yet? That's unbelievable. The Temple of Solomon. On maps drawn on parchment in the Middle Ages, Jerusalem was shown at the centre of the world. It was then, as it remains today, a city sacred to three religions. No, there's another one as well, at least, if not two. Judaism, Christianity and Islam. For each, Jerusalem was the site of momentous events that founded the bond between God and man, the first being the preparations by Abraham to sacrifice his wife on the outcrop of a rock, now covered by golden foil. Abraham was poor and very sad, and lived for 5 minutes in Ur, in Mesopotamia. Her around 1800 met Christ. He then decided to come to Tita Hebei.